that careers are very important for the future of not just our children, but for the betterment of our country and the countries that we live in. Right now, I would like us to start with a word of prayer. Scholar, you're here. You can start us off with a word of prayer. Scholar.
Great. Let's pray. Father, we are grateful for this day. Thank you for this time. Thank you, Lord of Glory, for giving us health, breath, and even strength to be able to join this webinar. Lord, even as we just going to learn about the disadvantaged, I pray you may open up our minds and help us to understand this career conversation. Bless Dr. Mercy, even as she continues being with us. In Jesus' name.
Asante sana, Scholar. Scholar will be introducing herself a little bit later, then we'll be able to see her. So today we continue with career conversations. We are talking about empowering disadvantaged young people to build a better future. And I'm very happy to see the participants who are working with young people, whether in tertiary level, in secondary schools, youth in communities, and even in schools, in the other schools that we have, and even from the private sector, we all work at different areas. So thank you very much. I will be your host today. My name is Margaret Oidaka. I'm career development practitioner. A little bit about myself. I've worked in the field of career guidance and advice for over 15 years. I am one of the founders of College of Career Guidance and Development, which has invited you for this webinar together with the Career Development Association of Kenya. I am the board chair of CDAC. I'll be telling you a little bit about it. It's the association of the Professional Body of Career Guidance Practitioners. I'm also the president of EACDA, which is the East African Career Development Association, still taking few steps here and there because we are not there. I've also co-authored a book called Discover Your Career Workbook. A lot of you have seen it before, and it is being used in schools. I'm a trainer, I'm a consultant, I'm a writer, I am a mother, and I'm a friend, and all that. And you are all my friends. A little bit about College of Career Guidance and Development. We are an online institution. We are registered by the government of Kenya. We offer various services. We have training programs, short courses, which are given to young and adults, a diploma course that we'll be talking a little bit about more, but some of you that have seen here already on the course. Then we also offer career information resources. We are consultants. We've consulted for several local and international organizations. We are also content developers. We developed the Regional Career Guidance and Counseling Framework for Tibet, and also we developed also the CPD and internship also for CBET. Those are some of the services that we offer. And of course, you can always get us on College of Career Guidance College.co.ke. No, careerguidancecollege.com. As I said, these are our partners. Discover Your Career is actually the mother that gave birth to all of us, CCGD, CGI, and all that. We also work very closely with IRPA, DCI, and others that you can see. Some of also the associations that we work very closely with is SACDA, that is the association, the South African Career Development Association. This is the South African equivalent of CDAC. We also work with association that is the Global Career Month. You can see it in the middle. That is the one that takes care of all the practitioners and associations across the globe. Last year, for those ones who are not here for the other ones, last year we had a big event for a whole month, but this year it will not be taking place. It will be taking place next year. All right. We've had a number of career conversations. For those who are here for the first time, you can go to www.careerguidancecollege.com/webinars, and you'll be able to see all the career webinars that you've had before, and they'll be able to direct you to our YouTube where you'll be able to see them, to see all this and much more. So please stay tuned as we continue to be with you and to give you different snippets on the areas of careers. Today, we are discussing about empowering disadvantaged young people so that we are able to help them build a better future. This has been brought to you by College of Career Guidance and Career Development Association of Kenya. As I said earlier, this is the practitioners body for career associations. We'll be hearing a little bit about it a little bit later. So today's program, we are here until 8:30. If we go further, it's up to 8:40. This we will be after me, Dr. Mercy. We will come on board and she'll be able to tell us about our topic today about empowering the young people. We'll have a Q&A about what Dr. Mercy will be offering us. And then she will come back again. She'll be telling us how to become a CDP. How do we become CDPs? And then a scholar will come for only 5 minutes and will tell us a little bit about also CDAC, that is the association, and how we need to be members. We'll have any discussions and then we close. I want to welcome you. If you have any questions, any remark, any observation, even as we go on, please feel free to write on the chat and we'll be able to answer you. I would like to introduce to you our speaker for today, Dr. Mercy. Many of you know her. She's the Director of Learning and Development in CCGD. She is the one who's in charge of all the teaching and all the learning and research and all that. She's a PhD graduate in curriculum instruction. Her study was on career guidance and development, and that is how we found ourselves here. She has over 20 years experience in training, in advising and counseling on matters on careers. Dr. Mercy breathes careers, breathes in careers and breathes out careers. It is actually what she does every day, and she's very good on that area, on transitions, whether it's in high school, on colleges, universities, and young people. She also serves with me on both boards of CDAC and EACDA. So I would like to welcome Dr. Mercy. I will stop sharing so that Dr. Mercy, you can share your screen. Karibu sana, Dr. Mercy.
Thank you, Margaret. Let me share.
Yes, we can see your screen.
A minute. So I hope it's clear from your side. Okay. Thank you very much, Margaret. And I will go directly into the topic of today, empowering disadvantaged youth to build a better future. And we need to know who are these people. Who are they? So that before we can even know, we need to know who are these people that we are going to be empowering. And we have a long list of this. And it could be former child soldiers. It could be former child laborers, youth with disabilities, students who have disadvantages in terms of academics, the rural youth, ex-convicts, school dropouts or any illiterates. We have a group of, in terms of illiteracy in Africa and even in Kenya is still very high. Ethnic minorities, girls excluded from education and training opportunities, either because of culture or because of stereotypes. Unemployed graduates are also disadvantaged, and especially when they graduate and within a period of 1 year, 3 years, they are not able to get into employment, formal employment, or even entrepreneurship, then become disadvantaged. Out of youth in informal sector, in informal economy, without any certification and without any, and their skills cannot be documented. Then we also have another group of not in education and employment, neither are they in training. So another described as NEET. So all these are disadvantaged and they need our intervention. They need you and I to hold their hands, and there are many of them in our communities. If you think in terms of these images, they describe the kind of the youth. We have mothers, school-going mothers, and they need also to be, we know that there is a lot of stigma associated with it, but how do we then help them overcome stigma and also develop their lives so that they can be able to have gainful employment or gainful livelihoods? We have child laborers. We have seen, I'm sure, in our communities, we've seen some children being employed, engaged in areas where they can support their families in economic activities. You can see some girls even crushing stones, and instead of going to school. So their youth is robbed where they can be able to get literacy levels, where they can be able to even to develop their skills. We have a graduate who is not employed, either because of the inability to access the proper labor market information, or they are able, in terms of the technical skills, that they, if whatever kind of qualifications that they have, it does not meet the needs of the labor market. We have soldiers, children who have been involved in war-torn countries, and their youth is robbed. They have been participated, they are already in war-torn environment. There is a lot of stigma, there is a psychological torture, and once the peace is restored, they need to be reintegrated into the community. How do we reintegrate former soldier, youth or children soldiers into the community, and so that eventually they can be able to get into the formal, into civilian life? Illiteracy. Imagine in terms of the 21st century skills, most of the services, like we've just been told, the government services are going to be digital. Imagine a person who has no the 3 R's, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. They will socially, again, they are going to be highly alienated because of literacy levels. Other than just digital, the level, the reading, writing is already a challenge. Then you add again digital skills, then becomes a high level of alienation of such people. We have a lot of youth involved in informal economy, and how can we harness and how can we support them in terms of coming out of informal economy, so that their skills can be documented and validated, so that they can be able to even if it means that they will be able to look for jobs, or even to look for to start their own enterprises. So these are the disadvantages that we are talking about in terms of this group of students, this group of people that are highly disadvantaged, and we need to be able to intervene in their own circumstances. And as we think, as a group, as we are here, about 20 of us, start thinking of one of this category that you can pick, and how you can intervene in terms of their own situation and how you can make a difference in their life. So what are the likely causes of these disadvantages, and what are their effects? There are many of them. One, there are 4 of them, the 4 categories that I have identified and have been able, research has shown. We have low educational attainment. One of them is one of the challenges that are that makes that group to be disadvantaged. Either poor access to quality education, either under achievement in the school system, and especially where we have an achievement because they're academically challenged, either because of learning disabilities, then becomes either they are asked to repeat over and over again, and once a child is made to repeat over and over again, they also give hope and they give, they lose hope and they give up, and so they drop out of school. There are others who they have no connection with the school system, either because they have been bullied in school, either they have no connection with their teachers, and once they do that, they hate school system, and again, they drop out. Poor performance, again, there are people we have youth who have stopped or dropped out of the school system because of poor performance. We then have students within the higher education, many of them being discontinued because they have either not met the grade levels that are required to be able to pass from one level to another. So once poor performance and they are not able to progress from one level to another, then they drop out, and without any certification, and their skills cannot be validated at any level. That then forms another form disadvantage in terms of getting access to any kind of formal employment, or either job creation or enterprise development or entrepreneurship, because education has also reduced their chances of getting into either of that area. We have other graduates who have not been able to access jobs. So we experience skills deficiencies, either because of skills mismatch, either they are under or because of over or underemployment, either their skills are too high, others either their qualifications do not meet the labor market requirements, others have no tertiary education, and especially the students from basic education, for them to be able to access any formal or any kind of work that would be decent work, be able to access decent work, they would need tertiary education, post-secondary education. Basic education gives three levels of skills: literacy, reading, and arithmetic. So if they do not have the writing, if a person who has finished Form 4 and they are not able to continue to the next level, it means they are also going to be skills deficient, because reading, the ability to count, the ability to read, the ability to write does not amount to some skills that can help any youth access to decent work. So others may not have any work experience, and we have had many youth graduates unable to access the labor market because they have no experience. So how can we provide that opportunity for such graduates, so before they exit any learning institution, so that they can be able to build the capacity to be able to have the right competencies that are needed for the labor market. Then we have other social disadvantages: parenting at an early age. So when girls get married at an early age, then it means they are compromised in terms of access to further education, and the fact that the multitasking, the double roles that such youth are going to engage in will also be very heavy. One, they will be experiencing stigma. The next one, they will also have now them taking care of their child and also taking care of education. They're still very young to be able to multitask towards those three areas. And then how the society view girls who get married very early. We also have another, when they don't go beyond the basic education, they are likely to engage in drugs and substance abuse. We also have special needs population that suffer a lot, a group that is ignored, And so how can we be able to, either because of the parents, the caregivers are highly overprotective, they are highly prescriptive of what their special needs category, the kind of service that they're supposed to be given. And then we also have others who have engaged in criminal activity. So ex-convicts, they need to be reintegrated. How do we overcome stigma of being sentenced into as offenders in the and recovering? I mean, being integrated into the labor market, how into the community, and then after that, so that can be able to start a form of livelihood. So how can they be integrated? And then we also have economic causes, poverty, and especially in terms of providing the needs, where we have government investing heavily in terms of education. There are still some other needs, the living expenses that are needed. The government may provide the capitation for tuition and also for the books and everything, but the living expenses, the boarding experiences, the expenses, those are not met, and we still have a group of parents who are not able to afford, and so that again may cause some of the youth be disadvantaged in terms of how they access, improve their life beyond secondary education or primary education. High level of unemployment, lack of labor market information, again, will also affect the youth, and especially the graduates. How do we get the right labor market information so that they can be able to prepare themselves accordingly? So these are just the causes, and what would be the effects of this? One, we have the economic consequences. So they will have poor employment opportunities. If I'm a child, a person with, I only have the 3 R's, the basic education, the labor market does not just recognize the three levels, the 3 R's, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. There are more skills, the high level of skills that are needed. So if a youth is not engaged with the right skills, then it means they will continue and experiencing high rates of unemployment. Their levels of earning again are going to be lower, and they are likely again to end up in poverty, increased levels of poverty. The psychological well-beings, when you have any means of access to livelihood, then what happens? We have elements of depression, anxiety, and generally poor mental health among the youth. So low literacy and numeracy skills, then it means they cannot participate in economic and social life, and then they also have poor job prospects. They can only be hired as untrained or unskilled workers, and etc. Then the effect we gain again, if you don't proceed, then there'll be the likelihood of early marriage, and then parenting early, and then there's stigmatization that also comes that go with it. Then the criminal activity, once imprisoned, then reintegration into the community becomes a challenge. Then, and if they don't go into beyond, then again, they're likely again to experience or be able to engage in alcohol and substance abuse. And so we have addicts within our community. And I'm sure these are some of the things we have seen in our community, and we need to see how best this can be resolved. So as career guidance practitioners, these are some of the interventions that we have been able to identify that can help alleviate the problem of these disadvantaged youth. And I hope you still making note of the been almost 12 categories of disadvantaged youth. So one, what is career guidance? So it's activities and services offered to assist individuals so that they can identify their career needs, so that the activities facilitate choice and decision of education and training, and then the skills to enter the labor market. And so experts in career guidance organizes these activities in a systematic way so that they are available to people whenever they need them. So the key 4 areas in terms of career guidance and as an intervention is identification of career needs, the forms of education and training, and then how to the intervention of how to enter into the labor market. So we'll go through at each one of them, the career needs, which one are they? There'll be the career-related problems that will inhibit, that will affect the youth access the labor market or be able to get into decent job, or in terms of improving their future. So we have low esteem, confidence, and a sense of inadequacy, and especially if you have no the levels of education are poor or are low, then how they are likely to get into, in terms of even articulating what they want to do, it becomes a very big challenge. And so career guidance can be able to help in terms of bringing out, the career counseling can bring out so that they can be able to overcome some of these areas. So again, they are likely to experience in career confusion and uncertainty. And we have the news there as late as yesterday. We have about 600,000 youth in our community, and I'll be able to share with you the statistics within the last about 4 years. So we now to see the 600. Is it because they do not know? Is it confusion? Is it uncertainty? We need to interrogate further, because they form part of that, the youth that are disadvantaged. We have frequent changes of career expectations. Today they want to be this, tomorrow they want to be something else. When they see it is music, and when they test the music for 1 year or one week, they change to another one. So there is that frequent changes of career expectations, so that in terms of grounding, in terms of farming the decisions, it becomes a very becomes a challenge for the disadvantaged youth. Then we also have limited knowledge about potential career opportunities. If the information is not readily available to them, then it becomes difficult for them to be able to move from one stage to another. Lack of career identity, identifying what they want to be, high rates of academic deficits in terms of the skills, in terms of even the rates, in terms of subjects, having the right subjects so that they can be able to move to the next stage. Awareness of career options that are available. We already know that if you ask the youth how many careers they know, they will have the doctor, the engineering, the law, and while there are over 30,000 careers available worldwide, then there is that limitation in terms of knowing what options are available. Then most of the youth say they have little or no support by career guidance professionals. They also do not find the idea to be able to get the right professionals who can work with them. That again is lacking within our community. And we had a program of about 2,000 youth, West Pokot, Nyandarua, and West Pokot. The statistics that show in terms of accessing to professional career guidance professional is very, very, very low. And so it means our youth continue suffering because they have no support in terms of even access, the ability to access to professionals so who can be able to help them. So what are the other interventions in terms of education and training and the ability to get into the labor market? We have 2 ways. For the ability to access to decent work, or any to be able to improve their future, study 8 grades, or will not be able to help them. It cannot. There is no way. Literacy, the ability to read, write, and counting is not going to be one of the skills that will be considered for any kind of decent work. So we encourage one of the interventions that the youth must go beyond Form 4, so that they can be able to be trained at whatever level. And it is not the grade, it's only not the A's or the C+ that go to the university. Education has been expanded, the tertiary education has been expanded, and that as low as artisan certificate with a D, the student can still access that. We are not saying that we should not encourage high performance, but we also know that not everybody who can score an A, but we can encourage skills development at whatever level that our youth, our students also the kind of the certificates they're able to access. So that way, college readiness can start from the artisan certificate, academic work starting from artisan certificate, certificate level, diploma, or a degree. And so as our youth can plug in at every level, depending on the grades. So grades do not define our youth, our children. It is how they are wired, the kind of skills, the kind of work they would want to do, or the aspirations they have, and then the grades come in second or third, so that they can be able to plug in at everyone. They need to know who they are first, and then after that, then knowing, identifying the options that will be suitable to each one of them, then they can be able to pursue post-secondary education. There are those who may not still want to go to school, but they can go through apprenticeship programs. It's still a skills development activity that a person wants to become a mechanic, but Otieno's has a garage that can be able to host youth who wants to learn about mechanic. So a skilled worker, they are able to acquire the skills, and beyond that skills, once they are confident about they have acquired the skill, that skill can be validated through a grade test. We have the National Industrial Training Authority that validates and also accredits and certifies the youth who goes through apprenticeship programs. So education and training or skills development can either through formal education or informal education through apprenticeship programs. Then we have the graduates who can be able to either they are deficient of how job search skills, and so they can go through programs of workplace readiness. So or entrepreneurship. So any of those, those who have gone to school and they have the right skills and they are unable to access the labor market, they can either be supported in application of their skills, either through entrepreneurship programs and also or workplace readiness. Those are the two ways that interventions for this group of youth that can be either those who have the qualifications, who are graduates, who are unemployed, and they have their at different levels. So depending on where they would want to be. So we have those ones who can be given the job search skills, or those ones who are supported in terms of entrepreneurship and the skills associated with entrepreneurship. So either way, our youth, for them to be able to move, to be able to build a better future for themselves and be able to access decent work, not unskilled work, is not to be employed as unskilled workers, then they can either go through formal education, where they do through college from certificate, artisan certificate, all the way to the degree. Then, or I do not want to go through the formal rigor of academic, but I can be taught through being a skilled worker by a person who is skilled, a skilled worker, a person who is trained in this area, and they can teach me by learning and doing, learning by doing. And then the alternative will be the application. Once they get the skills from college readiness or apprenticeship, then how do they apply their skills? They'll be able to either through entrepreneurship or be prepared for the world of work. I hope this is very clear that we can be able to support our youth at whatever level. So education is not just going the formal, we also can do through formal education. And even in formal education, there will be validation of the skills that they did. We have those who have been participating, who have been in informal economy, the Juakali. So how can we then again improve them in terms of the skills recognition? So they go through the grade tests that are through NITA. So then what would be the goals of career guidance intervention? Why are we very particular about this? Because we must encourage lifelong learning. We don't just, the youth, to be able to bring them out of that bracket of the disadvantaged youth. Education will not end in Form 4. It is not going to end in college, because the world of work is also very dynamic and it keeps changing. So how do we support the learning? Either the ability to identify new skills, identify the ability to. No, seriously. Please, free spin, please. Please spin. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have encouraging of lifelong learning, so that education does not just end with a certificate. They should be able to be able to get new skills. We now know that most of the jobs are going to be digital. Most of the services or the opportunities now are going to the digital space. So what does that mean? Our youth needs to be encouraged to acquire the digital skills. So from the physical learning, and then in terms of the accessing the jobs, it also requires the world of work is changing, and if it's changing, what is apparent is that the digital skills are very necessary. And so as career guidance practitioners, we must encourage lifelong learning. We'll be able to continue improving in terms of ability to be able to help our youth access the right labor market information, either through the job search skills, whether documentation of qualifications, documentation, how to prepare for interviews, how to be able to network, how to brand themselves, and etc., so that they can be ready for the labor market. We already know in terms of some of the youth are socially disadvantaged. In terms of we must promote social equity and social inclusion. We have the special needs population. They must be within. There should be provision for providing career guidance for the special needs population. We also need to challenge stereotypes that girls cannot do engineering. Then that math is not good, it's hard. So those are some of the things that social equity must be also be part of the career guidance must advocate for challenging the stereotypes, including the special needs population, the dropouts. How can we prevent it before it happens? So all these are some of the areas in terms of career guidance can provide it as an intervention. So encouraging lifelong learning, improving access to labor market information, and then promoting social justice, social equity, and social inclusion of especially those different. We can have the ex-convicts. We can have the girls who in terms of access to the technology field. We have the special needs population, and generally all those that are the poor in terms of providing the finances where it is necessary, and even providing the right information. So what would be the role of career guidance practitioners? CIVCAS of 2005 developed the approach of 4 C's, and especially because the world the world of work is highly dynamic. So individuals, the youth, must be very adaptable so that they can be able to adjust to changing work environments, be able to find opportunities, and manage their own career development and learning. And so there are 4 C's that as practitioners, we must be concerned and encourage the individuals get involved in thinking and planning about their careers. So the marginalized group that we are talking about, we must be concerned about them. At the bottom of our hearts, we must be very concerned about them, and we see programs that we can be able to encourage them so that they can get involved in terms of thinking about who they want to be and then plan for their careers. Again, they must also take control of what is happening, and in terms of taking advantage, encouraging them to take responsibility to build and manage their own careers. So it is not somebody else, it's not their parents, neither is it going to be teachers, neither are we the the adults who are going to take care of, in terms of managing their careers, how to build their better lives. They also have a responsibility to take to have a responsibility to take so that they can be able to build and manage. Our role is to provide the right environment, encourage them to have the lifelong learning, and then the social equity, promoting that, providing the right information, and etc. Then we should also be encouraging them, curiosity, that they should be able to know what is happening around them, and so that they can be eager to learn about themselves and the work environment. If the work environment is changing so fast, what are the trends and what should you do? So they should have a curiosity mind all the time so that they can be able to adapt and be able to meet the needs that are taking place all the time. And then we already know these are fragile in terms of their self-esteem, in terms of identity, in terms of uncertainty. Then we also, career guidance as a practitioners, we need to boost their confidence so that they can be able to make well-informed career choices and decisions. So as practitioners, the 4Cs approach that was advanced by the theory of career adaptability, we must be concerned. We must be able to encourage them to take responsibility. We must encourage them to be curious about what is happening around them. And we must also be able to build that, to hold their hand and be able to build that confidence so that they can be what they want to be, and in terms of making decisions and making appropriate choices. So it's time for you and I to reflect. We have all these categories of youth. What can we do about them? So how can you and me be part of the solution? We have all this, and you can see there are several of them. I'm sure you can identify among them. These are our brothers and sisters. They are relatives in our villages. If they are not in the village, they're also in our own houses. And we need to know how best we can take care of them. So there is this, I leave you with this quote from Bodhi, who say, the more we give importance to skills development, the more competent will be our youth. We have a role and a responsibility to do this. So I hope I've been able to do justice to the discussion for today, and I will want to give it back to you, or to open the floor for discussion. Over back to you, Margaret.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Mercy. I hadn't seen your PPTs very cleanly, but it is very, very engaging. You must agree with me, participants, that she's brought out another tweak, because many of us always have imagined that once there is that a student drops out or in class 8 or even after Form 4, because like right now we are talking over 600,000 students who never went to the universities or to the colleges, and then we are trying to wonder, where should they go to? There is something for everyone. Like Dr. Mercy says, we have a program that we work with young people who can't even speak Swahili, but 3 years down the line, we are able to see where they have gone to, and what they're able to do. So there is something for everyone. I like what she has ended by saying, that these are our brothers and sisters, they are relatives, they are friends, and we need to know what we can all do. So in case there is any question, I know that Dr. Mercy is, like as I said, this is an area that she's very good at. You can see how much time she's taken. So that is very good. In case there is any question, we can ask Dr. Mercy before I let her go. I can see Olawale from Nigeria. Hi, Olawale. She has said very insightful. Well done, Ma. Kamau has said a very relevant conversation, and this is the time. So Dr. Mercy, maybe you can stop sharing. In case there is any question, you can raise up your hand or you can write on the chat, and then we'll be able to answer you. So thank you very, very much. As I had said earlier, now Dr. Mercy has ended by saying, this is a reflection for me and you. What do we need to do? It is important for us to become professionals. But before we do that, I would like to invite Scholar people are, I would like to invite a scholar. Scholar, you can tell us briefly about CDAC. We said that this program has been brought together with CDAC and CCGD. Maybe you can come in and tell us a little about CDAC. But I can see a lot of people are clapping for you. Nearly everyone is clapping. Everyone is clapping for you, Dr. Mercy. It was a very good presentation. It will be able, we have recorded it and we'll be sharing it on YouTube. So, scholar, and I'm only giving you 5 minutes. Please tell us about how to become members of CDA, Career Development Association of Kenya.
Thank you so much, Margaret and Chair. Welcome everyone to this webinar. Scholar Odhiambo is my name, it has been mentioned. And before I even mention about CDAC, allow me to mention about CCGD, where I'm also a student and doing very well and learning a lot. Actually, what Dr. Mercy has shared with us is a unit that we actually call Career Guidance for Socially Disadvantaged Members of the Community. So the few minutes she's been able to give us is actually what we learn for a duration of even 12 weeks. So the moment you come on board, you'll be able to see how you're able to learn, how you're able to put what she's actually telling us into practice, and more so to be able to impact the society. On to CDAC. CDAC is the Career Development Association of Kenya, and you know that for any proper association or any proper profession, there has to be an association that works. So this is where all of us as career development practitioners are able to gather, and in it, you're able to sharpen each other, be able to do things together as a force so that we're going to be a voice in this particular country. Our purpose is to advocate and promote lifelong professionalism in career development in Kenya. We also have a mission that is providing a framework for career development practices so that we avoid quacks or what quacks end up doing, especially to the young ones and the society at large. More of that information can be found on our website, that is cdac.co.ke. Just Google it, you'll be able to see us, you'll be able to see what our objectives are. You'll be able even to see how to become a member. We have one tab that talks about being a member, where you can become a professional member, an associate member, even initiate. All of that having different amounts and different ways of actually being a member on the scene. So in association with CCGD, we all know that this is the backbone. Without the skills and the proper information to be able to share out there is no way you can be able to do. So one of the prerequisites you have is it's good for you to be able to go through those particular courses, get the skills, because particularly in our class, we have doctors, we have lecturers, people who thought that, yes, they have seen it all, professors, and they come to class and we are all learning together. We have captains, people who've been delimitarized. We also have youth and people in the youth empowerment space, even in the public and the private sector, teachers who are there with us, we also have professionals, because we know that career is lifelong. So in case of any questions, you're free to ask. Go to the CDAC website. You'll be able to see us there, join and be a member, and let's move career guidance practitioner to the next level. Thank you.
Asante sana, scholar. Thank you very much. I've already typed in the link, and we can see her beautiful face. There she is for a second. I've already put the link there, so you can check. We have a partnership also with CDAC, that everybody who becomes a student becomes automatic member of, you become a student of CCGD, becomes an automatic member. So thank you very, very much. Scholar, she's one of the students who is continuing student, I think about to graduate, Scholar. I think so. So now we...
About to graduate, actually waiting for our last exams.
Good. You see, she's gone very far, and thank you very much. So now we've talked about also becoming, if you're becoming a member and you have to be, if you have to become a practitioner, what she talked about, you need to go to school and get the competencies. So I would like Dr. Mercy, I'm sure she's taken a bit of water because she's the head of the faculty. I want to invite her again so that she can tell us about also becoming a student. How do we become competent in this sector? How do we learn? So Dr. Mercy, the floor is yours. I'll also give you another 5 or 6 minutes so that you can tell us about becoming a student, your student. Of course, the questions, let her finish and then we'll be able to answer the questions that you've asked. So yes, Dr. Mercy, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'll go back. Again, it's a time of reflection and we will see. We have this week, is it yesterday and the day before yesterday, we have this shock of over 600 learners out of education radar. This was the Standard newspaper on Tuesday. And for us, it is not strange because over the last, you see, the academic year 2018, 2019, and even if we go back, the range is within 75 to whatever, to about 70%. We have the numbers, the enrollment or the growth of the candidature is also growing, but on average, it ranges between 70%. 70% of the number of students who do not proceed beyond Form 4. And we can think in terms of those ones who do not proceed from primary education. While we have 100% transition, we still have several of them who still 100% transition from primary education, we still have a number. On average, the Study 8 has about over 1 million students. So here, if we have the ones who joined in Form 1 to be able to graduate in 2022, so you can already see that there's a gap. There's already about 300,000 students who dropped out from Form 4. So the current figures that is now shocking us is about 600,000, or specifically there are 584. And these are the numbers for the last 5 years, or even more years that behind if we think in terms of our community. And what is the likelihood if the students do not proceed into beyond Form 4? What are the likelihood? What are the challenges? What are they likely to experience? What will happen? These are some of the effects. We saw that we are a drinking nation, and most of them, up 27 million of the youth engage in substance abuse. Others will engage in parenting at early ages. We have those ones with criminal activities. Others will be in informal sector. Others will also be using in terms of the kind of trade, merchandise, or hawking from one group to another. And these are young people carried, while the opportunities may not be available for everyone, but suppose they had skills. The assumption is that most of them is that they have not gone beyond Form 4. So what happens to this? The 600,000, the ones that we are worried about because of the news are very recent, this is the likelihood. If we do not tap into that 500,000, they will form the socially disadvantaged youth, and the effects will be like this. And we need to do something about it. So these are still the skills. So what if 600? One of the article that showed that why they failed to apply for admission to universities and colleges is because of proper guidance, proper career guidance. And so as a practitioners, we have felt that we need to empower in terms of empowerment, in terms of the skills development in this field. And so we have a diploma that is co-developed with ABMA. ABMA UK is a qualifying association, an examination body in UK. And with the course is 6, according to Kenya National Qualification Level, qualification framework, it is level 6. It is 1 year and it has 4 semesters. And the syllabus content, we have the cognitive competences, the skills to know, in terms of the theory and practice of career guidance, the functionals of how to do it. So either is it advising, is it mentoring, is it information? and then the personal competencies of knowing how to behave, the personal qualifications, that the personal competencies of how to deliver, the skills that you need so that you can be able to deliver the service, and ethical practices, upholding the professional values. So some of all these contents is what the course is all about, that is covered within the 1 year in the 4 semesters. So in terms of standards and compliance, the course is recognized and equited and accredited by Kenya National Qualification Authority. The assessment awarding certification is done by ABMA Education UK. Then CCGD as a center, it is registered by ABMA and TVETA. And our staff, I am licensed by TVETA. The TVETA is the Technical Vocational Education and Training Authority. It licenses all tutors teaching in TVET institutions. And then others have masters in career guidance and development from global universities. So in terms of standards and compliance of the course, you should not be worried. In terms of delivery, we have scheduled guided virtual classes by Zoom. We basically use Teams. Then we have a learning management system where activities and self-post study is posted. Any materials, additional materials is posted on learning management system. Then assignments again are also online. So we already have our teachers from we have some students from Burundi, and so they do this. We have other people from Bugoma, another person from Mombasa, and so in terms of access, because it's virtual, then they're able to access, and assignments are also done virtually. Then we also know in terms of economic hard times, there's a flexible payment plan. So either you're able to share and be able to say how much you can be able to pay during in terms of engagement, in terms of payment plan. And how do we apply the skills? It is either you can become a curriculum development developer in career guidance. You can be able to prepare courses or workshop in terms of this field. You can design, develop, evaluate, or revise career education programs. You can be able to integrate career management competencies within the school curriculums, reviewing or developing or reviewing career information products, developing individual career portfolios. All these are some of the ways, the skills for career, for this the diploma can give you, and where the opportunities in terms of either a career teacher or a career officer in learning institutions. We have career guidance being mainstreamed within the education system, and so we'll require professionals to be trained to be used in these areas, either mentors for youth programs within the job in the job search field. We have employment or job placement services as a consultant, as career coaches, information specialists or advisors, and etc. And then I think by and large, as we come to the end, think in terms of who can benefit from this. It could either be you, it could be an employed graduate who can be able to develop another skill that is needed because of the need that of the especially disadvantaged groups, a neighbor, our children, and it is open to all. We have 2 intakes every May and September. So we have September intake ongoing. And so if any, Margaret will be able to share the link so that you can be able to register for, if you register for either May or the current one. In terms of our faculty members, we have Pauline, who teaches career guidance for workplace. We have Dr. Fidel Baraza, who teaches career guidance for special needs. Nikki for career education programs and theory. Amy for information, career mentoring, career advising. Polly for career information and career program and programming. And also personal career guidance in terms of the services of the competencies of the individual. Then we have Dr. Alice Omondi for research And then we have learning, Edward for learning management system support. And so I think Beverly Seal said there are no shortcuts to any place that is worth going. So if we are going to meet the needs of this group of people, there are no shortcuts about it. And so proper training will be needed. And if you have an opportunity, this will be something that we can be able to help our communities and be able to meet their needs. Thank you very much. Over back to you, Margaret.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mercy. She's told us that there are no shortcuts, and what she's ended up by saying is that for us to help these young people, and for us to think long term, to think that there is lifelong learning, we need to be competent. It is just like the way a village can get a new doctor, but a doctor who is not trained, but did a one-day showing orientation, and then you become a doctor. This is an area that is very specialized. I'm happy to see someone like Olawale here from Nigeria, who trained in the UK, and actually one of the teachers. But you can actually see he was able to go and see the problems that his country has, the same way that we have actually seen some of the issues. If many of us became practitioners, this over the statistics that Dr. Mercy has given will actually be lessened, because all this will start from school to the communities, to colleges. I can see quite a number from TVET from here, universities also as well, so that we are able to help to know the areas that can go. The next webinar that we'll be talking about is that how are some of the areas, or did we talk about it, Mercy? I'm not sure, about how to reduce unemployment using career guidance. Maybe just one that we can repeat if we've ever done it. But thank you so much, Dr. Mercy, for that. We are coming to the end of this. I'm looking and finding out, there is somebody who's asked, when you talked about career, and when you talk about employment, are they one and the same? Are they one and the same? Maybe if Dr. Mercy, you can answer that, but I've already given you the form. It is there on the chat. Some of the questions that were asked, I have answered, and especially when you're talking about certification, there is no way that if somebody came here and told us that they are trained teacher, and I do not have their certificate, or there is nothing to show that they are, it will be very difficult. So it is very important, and the country has given us those rooms. CDAC, NITA, TVET has all levels. So I think it is important for students to go back. And now we have dual training, we have apprenticeship. What Dr. Mercy was talking about apprenticeship, you're able to actually get certification for that. So for that, it is very important to get certificate. So anyone with a question before we close? Any question, you can raise up your hand, and then we will be able to close. Anybody, you can raise up your hand, and
there
then
was the question. There was a question from Mr. Kamau, who asked, is a career synonymous with employment?
Yes.
From where I see it, is a career is the area that a person has trained in, either informally or formally. And then once you have trained in terms of the skills you have acquired, then you also now do what? How you get into the labor market, either as a formal employment or self-employment. So there will be the element of choice of what a person wants to do, which is a career, either a tailor, either a teacher, and the training that gives you now the qualification of the skills, then you are able to apply them either in formal employment, where you are hired in an organization, or you start your own business, self-employment. So they are not synonymous. I think it's the outcome. A career, I mean, the employment is an outcome, the outcome of the process of career development. So I need to know who I am, so that the end game is either to be able to look for employment, or to be able to create my own job. I hope that's clear, Mr. Kamau.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then you continue developing your career, even when you are at work. So that is very well answered, Dr. Mercy. Any other question?
There's another one. I'm not sure whether it's a comment. Edwin Kengei says, on stereotype, so many male students are not pursuing fashion and design. What best method can be used to curb this? In terms of choosing, in terms of choices, careers, we have to know how naturally it's how individuals, how we are naturally wired, and we can only know how best, whether how a person can apply themselves through assessment, how their natural wiring is. So we cannot just say there are students girls are the only one who can do fashion and design. No, it's assessment that helps students identify their true passions, their true talents, or their true interests in that particular area. And then that way, through assessment, that's the way now they're able to align themselves. But we cannot just say, and then creating awareness of information, and then the people who do fashion design have to have a high level of creativity, color coordination, and etc., and the design and sketching and everything. So they need, one of them is creating awareness of the fashion design. It is not just for men, for girls. And you have images. If you are institution that is men, or that has more men, then have images that show men also do fashion design. And then that way, as you also do the assessment, then they can be able to be able to start seeing how, whether it speaks to them or not, and then reading more about it, encouraging them to read more about it, to observe, to visit where fashion and design is done, and the people who are successful in fashion and design, and how they can apply the area of application. It's not just designing. There are many other areas of application of fashion and design. And Mr. Edwin, if we have a career chart on fashion and design, the general design, and has elements of fashion design. I can be able to share with that. So you can contact me, and we can be able to do that and share with you more information on that. Right. I hope that's okay, Edwin.
Yes, it is well answered, Dr. Mercy. It's very well answered. Thank you very much. We are coming to the end of the session. We 3 minutes past, or it was supposed to be 1/2 anyway. We are coming to the end now of Career Conversation. We want you to stay tuned. We'll be bringing you more conversations and more topics every week. So even next week, a time like here on Thursday, we are going to have another topic, and we should be able to let you know even before. So what topic that we'll be doing. So if you want to receive alerts on our upcoming webinars, please text "I want to be a member of Career Conversation" to the number on the screen, and we shall add you. Please text that "I want to be a member of Career Conversation" to that number, which are going to add you, and we'll be giving you alerts on our upcoming webinars and anything else on careers. So today, our take home of course, we've had the areas, the kind of the things that we are able to do with young people. We can become Dr. Mercy's students come September. By filling in that form, we'll be able to talk to you after. Then you can also become a member of CDAC. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for finding time to be with us. It's learning is never ends. We continue learning.